Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer 55551, and I am back with a video review. In this review, we're going to be taking a look at MediEvil for the PS4, which is a remake, I believe, maybe a remake or a remaster of, or an updated version of the original PlayStation 1 Classic. And if you're interested in any gameplay footage, I'll have a link in the description down below, and you can check that out. I never played the original MediEvil when it was released back on the PlayStation, the original PlayStation to be exact. At that time, I had basically, you know, the Super Nintendo, the Nintendo 64, and all that stuff. So it was kind of interesting to hear earlier this year that they were remaking the the PS1 Classic MediEvil, though. And I thought that was kind of interesting that they were that Sony and developer, what's it called? Oh yeah, Other Oceans was bringing back this game and so forth. And after playing it for a bit, though, I honestly have to say that despite some of its little quirks that it has with it, though, I would definitely be more open to seeing maybe if they remake any of the other entries, or perhaps do a brand new one, to be exact. So why don't we get started with the pros and the cons, and we'll start off first with the pros. The first one I do want to talk about is the visuals, and honestly, I have to say, I really like the art style in this game. It gives off a little bit of a Ghouls and Goblins, Maximo, Ghost of Glory, Army of Zim, and a Tim Burton style to it. I just definitely like the art style in the game. It's cartoony, a little bit colorful and so forth, but you just get that Ghouls and Goblin vibe to it, and that's definitely not a bad thing, or a Tim Burton vibe to a certain degree. You know, like when he did like movies like The Nightmare Before Christmas, which is a classic no matter how you look at it. So visually, though, I like the Ghouls and Goblin, Tim Burton, Maximo style that they had for MediEvil. The next thing I do want to talk about is the music, and I will say the music is actually good. For some reason, to me, the music feels like it gives off a little bit of that Danny Elfman vibe to it, though. For those who are not familiar, he did the opening for The Simpsons. He's done also for many other, like, you know, movies, and, you know, like Tim Burton's, you know, Batman series and so forth. He was also one of the members of the 80s band Oingo Boingo and all that stuff. But the music, you just definitely get a sort of a Danny Elfman vibe towards it, to be exact, and that certainly is a good thing. And last but not least, of course, is the gameplay. And I know it's kind of being the dead horse saying the name again, but the gameplay kind of reminds me a little bit of, you know, the Ghouls and Goblins and Maximo series, basically being, basically an undead knight fighting off the undead and so forth. You basically have your sword and your shield. You also, depending on how many enemies you defeat, you'll also pick up sort of this golden cup, and if you get 100%, you basically could get, like, you know, better weapons and all that stuff, like a hammer or a club or so forth. So it's really interesting in terms of the gameplay, though, but like I said, it has sort of like a Ghouls and Goblins style gameplay to it, and that certainly isn't a bad thing. So from a gameplay perspective, it is fun. It is fun, definitely. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to get to part 2, which are the cons. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of our video review of MediEvil for the PS4. So now that I gave you the pros, why don't we get started with the cons? And there are 3 cons, as far as I can tell, of my thoughts about the game MediEvil. We'll start off with the first one, and that is sort of the difficulty, though. And now the difficulty spike for some people, that might not be a big deal. For others, it might be, but it can be. I can see why it could turn off some people, because a lot of the enemies that will hit you will, at least based on my time with the game, though, will take a good amount out of your health bar and so forth, which if you're not careful, can easily spell game over big time. In fact, there have been times when that has happened, and when I had to reload, when I reloaded my save file and so forth, I start the level again with low health, not like a full health or anything like that. So the difficulty can sort of turn some people off. There are ways to sort of like get some bottles that basically act like lives and so forth and all that. So there are ways to increase your life and so forth, but the difficulty spike might be an issue for some folks out there. The next thing I do want to talk about is the camera angle. Now, for the most part of the game, though, you can rotate the camera 360 degrees and so forth, and that's fine. But there are times when the camera sort of goes into a sort of a fixed angle. There are certain areas when that happens, and that can make certain situations difficult. Like there's a certain area, like in like a farm area, where there's a certain part where there's certain items like rotating and there's like spikes, so you have to sort of dodge them. And because of the way the camera is sort of positioned, it can be kind of difficult at times. So again, the camera angle can be bothersome for some people, though. Again, it doesn't bother me too much, but I can understand why it is. So yes, camera angle can be bothersome sometimes. And last but not least, though, maybe this is me, but it can be difficult sometimes to see whether your character is actually hitting the enemies or not. Maybe it's the way the animation is done or something like that. But sometimes when you're sort of like swinging the sword or swinging your items, sometimes you don't know for certain if you're actually hitting the enemy or not. Compared it to say like say like Maximo, Ghost of Glories, or The Army Is In. God, I wish Capcom would bring that game back, or see a remake of the first two to be exact. Where basically when you hit the enemy, you know you actually hit the enemy. Here, it can be difficult at times if you know for certain if you hit your enemy with a melee weapons. Not so much with like any throwing weapons like throwing daggers or a crossbow, but with like maybe a sword or a club or a hammer. Sometimes it can be difficult to know if you actually hit the enemy or not. Overall, I will say MediEvil is a fun game and all that stuff, though. It has its quirks, though. I mean, like I mentioned, the difficulty spike can turn some people off. The camera angle sometimes will go into that angle you don't always want it to be in. And there are times, at least, like I said, based on my experience, where you don't know if your character is actually hitting the enemies or not. But that hasn't turned me away from playing the game, though. I like the Ghouls and Goblin, Maximo, Tim Burton vibe to it, from the gameplay to the style and the music as well. So, to me, it is a fun game. I would like to see if there was, I think, a MediEvil 2 or MediEvil 3, if those games did happen. I believe they did, but I'm not 100% sure. I would love to see them get the remake treatment, maybe improve some of the gameplay a little bit, that. And I do hope to see Sony sort of dig into some of their other franchises and maybe revive those as well. I mean, I would love to see the Jak and Daxter series make a comeback. I would like to see another entry in the Ratchet & Clank. I would love to see the Sly Cooper series make a comeback as well. But two in particular that Sony, I think, published, I would love to see make a comeback is Dark Cloud and Rogue Galaxy. I would love if Sony would do that. Maybe they'll do that with the PS5, who knows? But those two would be ones I would like to see Sony dig in and sort of bring it back for a new generation. So overall, it's fun. It does have some difficult moments to it, but I still enjoy it though, and I would love to see more entries in the MediEvil series, and I would certainly love to see Sony maybe go back and bringing back some franchises as well. Oh, and also Ape Escape. That would be nice if they brought that back too. Okay, this concludes my video review of MediEvil, if I'm saying the name correctly, for the PS4. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about the supposedly remastered or remake of MediEvil for the PS4? Are you glad that they remade this game? Did you enjoy the game when it originally came out on the original PlayStation, or did you not enjoy it at all? Do you like how the game plays, or do you think there are certain areas they could have improved upon? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off in the comment section below. Let me know what you think, and I hope you hit that like button. I would appreciate it, and I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal Me or Patreon. Links will be in the description of this video, and I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye!